The last 2 weeks of Digimon Ghost Game gave us mega team-ups, Seed, Millenniummon, and Evolution for Espimon, and maybe the 4th Digidestined, a partner for Espimon. We'll cover it all in this video and explain every one of those things I just mentioned. Welcome to the Digino, where we talk Digimon weekly. This is my review and recap of Digimon Ghost Game episodes 61 and 62. 61, Resurrection. This has to be one of the best episodes of Ghost Game, right? A disturbing but heartbreaking premise that anybody who's ever experienced loss can understand, wanting so badly to believe the person you lost is still with you. That very human feeling is wrapped up in a larger-than-life Digimon story featuring one of the most deadly monsters in the series' history. Let's start from the beginning. A woman researching warped space dies in a lab accident to kick off the episode. A girl who knows Ruli named Kotoha Igarashi brings the team to inspect the deceased's body being kept at her house. She is truly dead and has been for 10 days, but she moves at night. We meet Kotoha's brother. He is still caretaking for a dead person. It's his fiance that's passed away. It's creepy and twisted, but also tragically beautiful because it's his fiance, a person he was intending to spend the rest of his life with, and he's clearly in denial and shock. It becomes clear through the blue markings on Toru's neck that the corpse of Manami is actually draining the life energy of Toru when they touch. The animated corpse gets a hold of Kotoha and Kiyoshiro too, explaining essentially why Kyo and Jellymon are not part of the final battle of this episode. As mentioned at the top of the video, Seed Millenniummon appears and has been powering Manami's corpse. Ogurumon says, according to the English subtitles, Hiro, Seed Millenniummon is catastrophic. There's no telling what kind of damage it may inflict on the world. We then get quite a long battle with the action starting up around the 13-minute mark and running for a solid 10 minutes. I remember early in Ghost Game, a criticism was that the battles were gorgeous but very short. Think back to episode 2 when Battle Gamamon fought Mummymon, for instance. It was over before we knew it. Here, we get a lot to get lost in. Just as the battle is heating up though, Manami's voice is heard by all. A weakened Toru and Kotoha are present in the AR field too, despite not having a Digimon. Now Toru is wondering why his fiance's voice is coming from that monster in the sky, and it turns out she's trapped inside. The voice of Manami says, Moon Millenniummon used my body and my memories to trick you and was slowly draining Toru's spirit while waiting for a chance to be resurrected. She never actually came back to life. She is truly dead and was just a corpse possessed by a Digimon. Manami's spirit believes attacking it will stop Seed Millenniummon. Toru is screaming and protesting this idea, seeing as he doesn't want to hurt or lose his fiancée a second time, and the Mega Digimon focus their attacks on the section of Seed Millenniummon hosting Manami's spirit. Toru and Kotoha are ejected from the AR world, which is our first indication that Manami and Seed were stopped. When the dust settles, Seed is turned back into that moon crystal form. Ruli says, hey, what do you want to do with it? Hiro says, I'll hold on to it. Kyo says, are you kidding? It's too dangerous. What if something like what happens today happens again? And then Hiro curiously says, if something happens, then we'll all fix it together again. He pretty easily convinces them it's a good idea and that they're right, and then we cut to his Digivice VB and see its light dim. It goes black. Then in a scene reminiscent of the times that Black Agumon, Black Growlmon, Black Gargamon watch Ghoulish sightings, the show seemingly communicates that this is a moment we should remember because we see Black Tailmon watching from the rooftop. One final scene is Espimon saying he wishes he could evolve too and feeling unlucky, kind of out of nowhere because this wasn't really an episode where a new evolution occurred. I think episode 61 is Digimon Ghost Game at its most successful, firing on all cylinders with the unsettling but still PG rated horror, telling this ultra fantasy sci-fi story with Seed Millenniummon, but doing it on a real human emotions level with loss and grief and denial at the forefront of the story, and giving us the epic Digimon transformations and battles you've come to love from the series. I do want to touch on a thought I had about Moon and Seed Millenniummon's appearance in this episode. The sense I got from the online conversations this week is that many were happy to see the character, myself included, but I couldn't help but think back to the Digimon Adventure 2020 reboot when, spoilers for that series, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Seed was defeated by War Greymon in the Spirit Bomb style Gaia Force move. It was introed and defeated in a single episode. That time, people were saying things like the sheer disrespect Adventure 2020 is showing Seed Millenniummon by having him defeated in a single episode. Here that happened again in Ghost Game, and I don't mind, but I'm wondering why some people who were upset with Adventure 2020's handling of Seed are seemingly less so upset with how it was done in Ghost Game. Let me know what you think, but I'm sensing a double standard. I think I like Adventure 2020 more than the average fan, and wonder if people maybe just wanted to find any reason they could to hate on that series when it was airing. Finally, there's the Crystal Moon Millenniummon to talk about. Once defeated, Seed reverts into the moon crystal form, and Hiro just kind of takes it and puts it in his pocket. He was weirdly insistent on being the one to handle it. I don't know, do you think this is just Hiro being a good guy, or is there some weird Lord of the Rings stuff going on here where something was compelling Hiro to take the crystal? Since Millenniummon is basically a god of space and time, maybe this will be the key to separating Ghoulish Gamamon from Gamamon and result in a scenario where Siriusmon and Arcturusmon or Regulusmon are both able to exist in the same time and space. And then maybe that's how we get the Proximamon fusion, rendering my whole theory video from last week obsolete maybe. Great episode, one of Ghost Game's finest, a top 10 episode for sure, and one that should not be skipped. Now on to 62. 62, The Strange Floor. So yeah, you know how I was asking about why Espimon said that thing he said in 61? Well, now we have our answer. Strange incidents keep happening in the apartment building where where Ruli's friend Aoi lives. The residents get scared and start to move out one by one. Ruli and the gang go to investigate the haunted building. Aoi-chan is told by a neighbor she should move out of the building ASAP, and on the other side of town someone else is moving. Espimon is moving out of the dorm, thinking that hanging around with the fake Hiro isn't going to help him find the real Hiro, and that if he was with the real Hiro he could finally evolve. On the way up to the 14th floor, the elevator stops at a cursed 13.5 floor. Really cool digital look to this 13th and a half floor. Aoi is stuck in 13.5 while Ruli stayed in the elevator. A handful of Digimon we haven't yet seen in Ghost Game, like Impmon, are present on floor 13.5 and corner Aoi. Espimon of all people finds her, telling her sometimes the dimensions connect and humans wander into this side. She's of course happy to see Espimon, who she recognizes as Hiro's other hologram. He frees her by using some key that he apparently wasn't allowed to use, and so Angemon emerges to lay down the law on Espimon. All the while Aoi is in the AR field with us for the battle, but with the giant key in her head. It's great to see that she was allowed into the AR field, and this is the first time I thought, oh my gosh, she is going to be Espimon's partner in the 4th Digidestined. The Ultimates face off against Angemon in combat while he exposits that his role in the show is to provide a safe haven for Digimon without homes, hence the apartment complex. Those who interfere or breach contracts will be punished, hence Angemon's focus here on Espimon in particular and wanting to punish Espimon. Clavis and Seriousmon get into a weird argument about squatters and unoccupied apartment buildings until Espimon intervenes to lend Seriousmon a hand even though he's only a rookie. Quote, if only I could evolve. Then he says, hey, fake Hiro, if you say you're the real Hiro Amanokawa, then evolve me right now. If you can't do it, then that means I'm right and you're a fake. And Hiro takes this to heart, and in a scene that I guess was supposed to be emotional or hype-inducing but really did nothing for me, he proclaims, I'm the real Hiro. And then Espimon has a true evolution animation sequence. Unlike Ryudomon or the Hawkmon earlier in the show, for example, Hiro even orders attack names just like he does with Gamamon evolution forms. It is truly Espimon partnered with Hiro via the Vital Bracelet. This is a true blue evolution partnership. Whereas when Ryudomon evolved several weeks back, that was based on his relationship with Gamamon, and even there he didn't have a real animation for the evolution. This is Hiro and Espimon achieving something together. Hiro asks if Espimon will finally accept that he's the real Hiro, and he kind of embarrassingly replies like, yeah, about that. And then when the battle ends, Ruli tells Aoi about what you saw, and she gets cut off. Aoi says, forget about it. Actually, Espimon, you ran away from home. Want to come with me? Sadly, I don't think this makes Aoi a true 4th Digidestined. Like, I don't think she's coming with us in all the new adventures moving forward, but what a weird way to do this. Huge mixed messages from my point of view. She kind of knows what Digimon are. She knows Espimon is more than just an AI hologram. She declines Ruli's offer to get a proper explanation of Digimon, and then she wants to buddy up with Espimon at the end, who can now Digivolve, but only with Hiro's help, not through Aoi. I don't have any insight to the writing process, but it almost felt like they had two ideas for how to do this. Make Espimon Aoi's partner or make Espimon Hiro's partner, and the writer's room, it felt like they had two sides arguing and pulling in both directions, and they never really came to a conclusion or a decision. We also see Espimon briefly in the episode 63 preview, so next week we'll know what the verdict is on Aoi's role moving forward, depending on whether or not she is there with Espimon in 63. I don't know, I think the episode had an opportunity to do something cool with Aoi and Espimon becoming partners, and instead took a weird pivot to let Hiro be the one to evolve Espimon, and they seem to have wrapped up the fake Hiro element of Espimon's character in the strangest way possible. Hiro screaming, I'm the real Hiro, did nothing for me other than make me shake my head that this was seemingly the payoff for a plot beat that has always been bizarre and concerning since it started up in episode 38 when Espimon debuted. 24 weeks have passed, and this is kind of the payoff for that. It was not amazing to me. Sort of a fun episode. I wanted more for Aoi. A friend in my personal life who watched the first 10 episodes of Ghost Game then fell off, they recently asked me if we ever got a 4th human character in the show, like a 4th Digidestined. I told him no, and he was pretty shocked. I was kind of hoping this would be Aoi's week, but clearly not. It's very clear that the show I have in my head is not the show the Ghost Game writers want to be making. The question is, though, is the version of Digimon you want closer to what I had envisioned or what the show writers clearly want? At least with HoverEspimon here and the 3 megas here, we really have very little else to do in this show than to confront Gulis, find Dad, figure out who the one who sent the Digimon is, and wrap this thing up. I'm still hoping we can do that in 7 or 8 weeks, ending on episode 70 or sooner, but I should clarify that's just speculation. There's no confirmed end date or episode count for Ghost Game. Let me know what you thought about episode 61 and 62 in the comments. I vastly preferred 61, but I want to hear your thoughts on if 62 played out how you wanted it, or if you thought the HoverEspimon stuff was going to go down differently. This has been the real, the Digino, not to be confused with the fake, the Digino. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.